Water, water of light, shimmering, sparkling, sometimes running and racing, sometimes serene and still. Iosco County is water. Lake Huron, the Au River, the Tawas River, small singing streams and quiet lakes. The waters have made the history. They will shape the future. Waves and waters whisper on a wandering wind. Come away to the shore, to the sand, to the woodlands, where nature in a mysterious and whimsical way weaves a pattern of wholeness, where life is an easy union of woods and waters. On the Great Lake Huron, in the heart of Michigan's Sunrise Side, at dawn, Iosco County sings a sailor's chant, a logging ditty, a fisherman's song. It echoes, come, come, come back to wander, to dream, to experience the simple life of freedom, harmony, and fullness. Over Lake Huron, a pink tinge breaks the black of retreating clouds as morning comes before the sun. The fresh after-rain air is sweetened with the perfume of some forest plant. It is a time of solitude. The sun is rising red. A few gulls, black against the sky, are circling, diving, and rising again. Ducks call noisily. Boats from 12-footers to slick charters move steadily into the lake. Out on the water, the fish and the men and women who seek them perform their own water ballet. The Great Lake Huron, highway of the early fur trader, priest, and voyageur, still washes the shore's golden sand, sugary and warm to swimmers' feet. On a brisk, breezy day, singing seas call the sailor to the wind and waves. Westward, away from the lake, the River Road, a National Forest scenic byway, parallels the course of the Au River, some 19 miles to the N65 highway. The Huron National Forest stretches west and north and wraps itself around the river and the scenic byway. This is the land of the canoe. Before the white man left his footprint on the sandy banks, Indians paddled these waters, fished, trapped, and lived. In the serene stillness of a misty morning, the imagination can conjure up the vision of an ancient red man drifting silently with the current. Under the lush green canopy at Iargo Springs, the singing waters enchant with tales of magic, healing, and Indian powwows long ago. Here, in front of the babbling springs, the river stretches wide to become the Cook Pond, one of the 6 lakes created by hydroelectric dams along the Au Sable. On any day, except when the waters are imprisoned in ice, modern canoeists play on the river. Once a year, in midsummer, one of the most spectacular sporting events in the state takes place, the Au Sable River Canoe Marathon. Paddlers from the United States and Canada practice hundreds of hours before they dare to challenge the mighty Au Sable in the annual event. The marathon demands strength and endurance. Canoe teams must paddle from dusk, through the night, and into the hot hours of the day. The over 140-mile race will take more than 14 hours of continuous paddling. Paralleling the canoe marathon, a land-based race spurs hundreds of spectators who cheer their teams from the time of launch, from bridge to bridge, and from dam to dam. Paddlers take pride in participating and completing the course is their grand achievement. Recognizing this achievement, a simple white brick monument stands off the scenic byway on the high banks of the Au Sable. It is dedicated to paddlers who challenged the Great Au Sable in the annual canoe marathon. The view is wide and sweeping over the waters. Perhaps that is why a pair of bald eagles built a nest in a tall white pine tree near the river's edge and inside of the monument. They have raised young here each year. From early spring until late fall, visitors can experience the thrill of watching the giant birds lift from the nest. Iosco County claimed its first white settlement around 1800. The Au Sable River and its forested banks were perfect habitat for fur-bearing animals which drew traders to the area. The junction of the river and Lake Huron was the base for commercial fishermen who netted whitefish and lake trout in the Great Lake. In the 1870s, fishermen were lured to the Au Sable by magnificent grayling, and hunters from as far away as Europe traveled to the area to hunt the white-tailed deer. They came by boat to the Tawases on the bay and traveled overland to camps under the forests of pine. Today, the prized grayling is gone, victim of the logging era. In its place, the fighting steelhead, the tasty walleye, perch, brown trout, bass, and a variety of panfish. White-tailed deer still dance and flirt. Each fall, the Huron National Forest welcomes bow and rifle hunters. River backwaters and lakes provide the perfect environment for duck and goose hunting. Small game hunters are rewarded with rabbit, squirrel, woodcock, partridge, and in the spring, turkey. In the 1880s, the country experienced the phenomenon later called Western expansion. Americans were spreading out, looking for adventure and wealth. They went west. They needed homes and buildings for business. The giant, majestic white pines of Iosco County lured the lumber kings. The forests of this area built the homes and towns of the growing West. Lumber camps sprang up along the river, westward and northward. The lumbermen cut and cut the mammoth trees. In the spring, with the fresh melting snow, the logs were floated downriver to mills at the mouth. Board lumber traveled by water, this time as passenger on the Great Lakes boats. The land was scalped until the white pines were nearly eliminated. The logging era, with its colorful characters, Paul Bunyan stories, unbelievable toil and hardships, came to an end. The devastated forests were replanted early this century. Today, the Huron National Forest testifies to this great effort. White and Norway pine dominate the forest. Jack pine, spruce, cedar, hemlock, and tamarack all coordinate color and texture to create a forest tapestry, enriched by various hardwoods. The Lumberman's Monument on the scenic byway celebrates the lumbering life and the reforestation of the land. On the monument grounds, a visitor's center displays artifacts of the lumbering era. Forest rangers answer questions about logging, the current vegetation and forest cover, and the wildlife which inhabit it. The grounds are dominated by a giant statue of 3 loggers with the tools of their trade. A picnic ground invites a celebration of summer or of fall color. A few steps away, the panoramic view of Au Sable River entices the photographer. On a warm summer day, the river lazes along, hugging the small island in the bay. blue waters give the trees along the river's edge back to themselves in darker hue. In the fall, the waters collect the blazing colors from the trees, a collage of fire and water. The Ausable River, once the scene of frantic logging activity, today survives in a tranquil, undeveloped setting reminiscent of the Michigan wilderness of the Indians' day. Escape the discord and confusion of highway and city. Take a nostalgic journey on an old-fashioned paddleboat in the stillness and mystery of the river as it meanders along marsh and meadow and woodland.
The sunrise side takes you back to the waters. It makes you feel alive. It makes you feel like you've come home again. The sunrise side you see is where I long to be. The sunrise side.
After the lumber barons were finished with Iosco County, commercial fishermen kept the community alive. Weather-wise men braved wind and wave and fog and storm to bring back the bounty which would be the lifeblood of the area. Whitefish, lake trout, herring, pickerel were gathered in nets and shipped to markets south and east. Today, sports fishermen on Grand Charter out of the Tawases and the Oscoda-Ausable area pursue lake trout and salmon transported from the west coast and planted in the Great Lakes. At the turn of the century, Iosco waters were still the major means of commuting. People from the cities to the south came by boat with tents and supplies to camp on the Lake Huron shore. But the 1900s saw the world traveling at a faster pace. The whistling call of trains echoed over the land. Ribbons of rail connected the nation's towns and cities. From Bay City to the Tawases and beyond, the railways came, bringing families to log cabins in the woods and later to lodges built to accommodate them. The local railroad, the Detroit and Mackinac, or D&M, began as logging roads in 1878. It later became the lifeline of the communities in Iosco County, furnishing passenger service, but also providing the major means of transporting materials and supplies to and from the area. In the 1930s, the D&M brought the equipment and materials which built the US 23 highway. Even the bridges were transported in parts over the rails. The modern D&M delivers agricultural produce, auto parts, machinery, lumber, stone, and cement products from northeastern Michigan to the world marketplace. It still supplies needs of communities along its trek, including Wurtsmith Air Force Base near Oscoda-Ausable. This military installation has been a good neighbor since the 1920s, when it began as a location of summer maneuvers for Army Air Corps pilots from Selfridge Air Force Base near Mount Clemens. Visitors to the area may tour the base during the summer season, and once a year, the base opens its gates to the public for its annual Visitors' Day, featuring various displays and demonstrations, as well as exciting air shows. The US 23 highway, the scenic route along Lake Huron, brings visitors to Iosco County. In Tawas, they sail the pleasant blue waters of beautiful Tawas Bay. They picnic on the beach, visit a lighthouse or a museum, stay at a campground, or enjoy the modern convenience of accommodations on the bay. Vacationers can enjoy the golden sand in various parks, explore the shoreline, or travel west to delight in the county's many inland waters and lakes. From spring through fall, golfers can pursue their sport on several challenging courses in tranquil surroundings. In the fall, when nature protests the coming starkness of winter, when she bursts in the fiery shades of red, orange, and yellow, they come to be warmed along the byways and waters. Nature sings its grand finale before the dropping of the curtain of snow. Winter comes on a north wind with lacy ice crystals and drifting flakes. The woodlands in bridal white and the waters in rigid reflection proclaim the time for skates, snowshoes, snowmobiles, and ice fishing. Since the early 50s, Iosco County has celebrated winter on the ice of Tawas Bay with Perchville, USA, featuring fishing contests, games, derbies, and the famous polar bear swim. Hiking trails become paths of discovery for the curious who ride the white world on skis. This is the cross-country ski capital of Michigan. Enthusiasts have their choice of trails along the waters in the woodlands. The Eagle Run through the meadows along the Au Sable is easy and accessible. A more demanding trail follows the high banks near the Lumberman's Monument and reveals striking, stirring vistas of the Cook Pond. North of the Tawases, on the Monument Road, the ski capital boasts miles of trails in the Corsair system. Each winter, a major cross-country ski event, the Silver Creek Challenge, attracts participants from all over Michigan. The skiers glide along the Silver Creek through the wintry woodlands and rolling ridges, escaping the tedious commonplace into a magic wonderland of light. From earliest times, this land has been a place to visit, to hunt, to fish, to vacation. A getaway place to nature on the waters of light and soft woodlands that welcome. And a place to return. Always new, always easy, always natural. Come back. Come back to the waters of light, to a new day, to a new beginning at sunrise in Iosco County.
The sunrise side takes you back to the waters. It makes you feel alive. It makes you feel like you've come home again. The sunrise side, you see, is where I long to be. The sunrise side, come and share our new dawning. It makes you feel good inside. It makes you feel like you found a long lost friend. The sunrise side to me is God's poetry. The sunrise side, come and capture tomorrow. It makes you feel young inside. It makes you feel like you'll never leave again. Until you return, your heart will always yearn. you feel